A very good evening. Thank you for joining us here on this Monday. You're watching India Tonight. I'm Nivedna Prabhu, and like always is my colleague Sumita Karir, who is going to be co-hosting the show with me. In fact, the both of us are going to be putting the spotlight on the top focus this evening. Let's tell you that amid all the chatter regarding SEBI to tighten rules in the F&O segment, Chairman Tuhin Kanta Pandey said a consultation paper will be floated as and when it is ready. In fact, he added that the details will be shared with market participants in a transparent way as and when that is ready. However, did not give any clear timeline, putting companies such as BSE, ICICI Securities, Angel One and fintech companies in focus. Meanwhile, let's also tell you the ban on real money gaming is back in focus because High CEO said that the instant messaging app turned gaming platform will cease all operations. Mittal cited shifting market dynamics and regulatory challenges as key reasons behind the decision-making process. In fact, Hike, the latest online gaming company to shutter its operations. So, what do the regulatory decisions mean for India's new age tech companies? That's the big story on India Tonight. But before we delve into that further, talking to ET now, Cred founder Kunal Shah said it's too early to comment on SEBI's amendments to listing norms, but added that any regulator's decision is taken in the interest of customers and companies will in fact have to adjust accordingly. It's an ET Now exclusive. Let's listen to it.
It's too early for us to talk about anything to do with public marketing. We are 7 years old, early in our journey relative to many other fintechs out there. But when we think about every step that any regulator takes is always to protect the end consumer, right? I think every company has to adjust their business, their model, their choices basis what is right for the customer. And I think every time you will see that all the innovation also has happened because the regulator has actually gone and proactively many of these things. Many fintechs are today alive or are in existence because of the innovation the regulators have done. So I think it's just a balance that we have to constantly keep doing. And the theme that remains that any company that is trying to create trust will always try to take the path of compliance no matter what the approach towards it is.
So that's the word that's coming in from Kunal Shah in an exclusive conversation with ET Now's Jude Sanith. And of course, to talk about both of these issues, we're joined by a stellar panel. Joining us on the broadcast live is Rajan Navani. He is the founder and CEO of Jet Synthesis. And Jay Saitha is he's a technology and gaming lawyer. And also joining us on the show is Sandeep Parekh, the managing partner of FinSec Law Advisors. Let me come to you first, Mr. Parekh, on the SEBI and F&O story. How do you think this move or this consultation paper is going to impact the ecosystem, and what does it really mean for the safety of the retail investor?
Hey, so I think it's going to be a difficult choice for SEBI really in terms of balancing the, it's obviously a very popular option, pun intended, to have weekly options. And, there is a lot of liquidity which follows with that. Simply because a lot of people are losing money, is it or is it not good enough reason to kind of ban it and kind of have longer dated F&O. So it's going to be a long debate. I don't think something is going to happen very quickly because, there will certainly be a cost in terms of liquidity, in terms of, the small investors still want to continue the product. And number three, the efficiency of the market. There's been an article today, in fact, which talks about this. So I think it's going to be I think SEBI is going to be thoughtful about it. I don't see them kind of coming with a ham-handed approach and just banning it. So it's going to be, like the chairman said in the public interview, he said that he's going to come out with a consultation paper, take feedback, and only then pass new law. But I mean, they are certainly considering it as they should. But they should see, of course, both sides of the coin.
Right, Mr. Parekh. In fact, as you point that out, of course, both Sumita and I are going to come back to you to decode that further. But Mr. Navani, let me come to you. Given what we're also seeing concurrently here, the instant messaging app turned gaming platform will now cease all operations, given what Mittal has cited of the shifting market dynamics and, of course, the regulatory challenges is key reasons behind the decision. What I want to understand from your point of view is that, it also highlights the stark impact of what we're seeing with India's real money gaming ban. Was this closure inevitable given the regulatory environment?
I think the online gaming bill that we are all talking about has done two things. It has, of course, banned the real money gaming and all of that, but it has also clearly highlighted that it is going to promote a $200 billion global gaming industry, or video gaming and esports industry as it's called, which includes social gaming and esports. I think the larger opportunity here for India to play a key role in the video gaming and esports industry has actually, in a way, been unlocked through this bill from an angle of what it's going to promote. I think the industries which include, money in and money out globally are treated differently in most global countries and in many other, markets. So I think what India has tried to do, I think, is aligned around a larger global play. Because the media entertainment sector, if you look at it, the interactive entertainment, which includes video gaming and esports, is a significant. It's a 200 billion of a 650 billion global industry. And India, while we have a large number of video gamers and esports athletes, who will participate probably in a esports Olympics, which is likely to be held in Riyadh in 2027, is the industry that has been identified to be promoted. So I think these are two very different industries itself, the way one were to look at it. And if one views it from that angle, I think that is what this bill has really been able to put out.
Right, Mr. Navani. So that's a very important point that you've made, given the fact that the government is now focused more on social games, on esports. But how does that opportunity gets capitalized? That remains to be seen. And we'll come to that point in just a bit on investor interest. But let me come to you, Mr. Saithan. Thank you very much for patiently waiting for your turn. In terms of the closure of Hike, and of course, we've seen very many other apps as well change their business models. In fact, some have shuttered down, their business models. Some have stopped operating in the Indian geography. In fact, most of them are now shifting to operating in the overseas markets. How do you see companies adapting to the new gaming law? Do you see more closures will happen? And how will companies be looking at sort of, adapting to this new gaming law?
So, like you said, there has been mass closures by the real money gaming companies in India. It's very unfortunate. This decision was, in fact, totally unexpected and out of the blue. After months and years of consultation that the government had with the industry, they were planning a self-regulatory approach. They were always open, and they never indicated even once that they were looking at a ban of this sort. So, Mr. Mittal, in what he said was right. There was complete policy uncertainty. There was never any signal or indication given, and no time given even to wind down the operations, in fact, because the banks and the fintech companies and payment gateways started putting out services immediately from 22nd August, almost overnight. So in that sense, it was very unfortunate. And having said that, this act itself has been challenged, and now Supreme Court has clubbed and taken upon itself all the matters. So the constitutional validity of the act remains a challenge, and the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, is seized of the matter and is going to hear it and decide on the legality and constitutionality of the new act, which we believe firmly it's a state subject and it's a complete legislative overreach by the central government in enacting this law. But while having said all of that, of course, the act is now in place. A formal date to notify and implement the provisions remain. So all companies have until there is any court order complied with the provisions and stop the services. I mean, some of them might wind down completely. Some of them have pivoted, as as you said, into esports, social games, or into some other sectors as well. Some of them have started micro dramas and video services. Some of them might get into fintech, and so people are trying to adopt and try various things. Some of them may focus on software development and international geographies apart from India. So it's still early days. People are still reconfiguring, sitting back in the drawing board and trying to see what to do. There will be some business portals both within the broader esports and gaming space and outside of that completely into new business areas altogether. So we'll have to see. But I see large number of companies actually winding down and not able to adopt an experiment and pivot. So I foresee that happening also down the line, a few months or few quarters down the line.
All right, Mr. Satsa. So that is, of course, essentially going to be a setback, given how you put that into perspective going forward, what that would mean. But Mr. Parekh, I want to come back to you. Given, could these regulatory adjustments strike the right balance, in your opinion, between curbing speculation, allowing market growth, or do they risk slowing innovation?
So I think, I think we've discussed two very different things. One is the online gaming, the other is the F&O market. And I think the destinies are obviously very different because one is kind of the parliament has decided to act in a particular manner versus the other, which is going to be a lot more thoughtful, according to me, because SEBI will kind of look at both sides of both the perspectives in terms of restricting weekly options versus kind of reducing liquidity. So, given my kind of knowledge of SEBI and how thoughtful they've been in the past, my guess would be that they would be thoughtful before kind of doing something very dramatic.
Right, sir, and thank you for your response. Let me come back to you, Mr. Navani, and this essentially is on the gaming issue that we are, of course, discussing. Given that some of these companies in the gaming, the real money gaming sector, they've approached the top court, and there are a bunch of petitions now which have been clubbed, and they're slated for a joint hearing in the top court soon. But do you anticipate any relief that could come in probably from the top court, given that these companies have essentially led to individuals getting impacted with respect to whether it's related to terror financing or, of course, some of these individuals facing mental hassles and, of course, leading to loss of money in most cases?
Yeah, I think, of course, these will be court, if the country will decide, many of these things. Coming to, what you said, I think the opportunity is what, I was talking earlier about in the other sectors which the online gaming bill has, talked about. And, as you rightly said, we've seen many options opening up for, companies that focused on the real money gaming sector. As I said, the opportunity here is a very different one because it falls in the space of interactive entertainment, and is more aligned around playing games to become either entertain themselves or from an opportunity to become an athlete and probably win a medal for your country at some point. And I think those areas which the government has talked about promoting and being able to see how India can play a larger share in is what truly is the other side of this bill that I think I'm more competent to comment upon because that is the area that we see today as being a very important and strong one moving forward.
Right. In fact, as you speak about that, Mr. Navani, and saying that there is, of course, larger opportunity like aligning, the larger share for India in the global play. But Mr. Saita, let me ask you this. Are smaller players disproportionately affected by the ban, or at least that's what it seems? And what strategies can, legally speaking, protect them while they pivot, which might be a very difficult aspect also, looking at as how this is panning out for them?
Yeah, I mean, smaller players are definitely disproportionately impacted because they don't have, a runway of a couple of years or even 6-8 months compared to some of the larger, well-funded VC supported unicorns or large startups. So of course, the smaller ones are impacted, and pivoting is not going to be easy, especially when you tell people to pivot overnight. So it's going to be definitely very difficult for the companies to pivot. As to how they would pivot, it's really, I mean, each company will take its own call on, based on the opportunities and their strengths and weaknesses, etc. But like I said, there are opportunities in esports, in social games, perhaps in fintech or other interactive entertainment spaces, or even to look at international markets. So these are some of the things which even the large companies or small companies may look at. But like I said, realistically, some of the smaller companies may really struggle to pivot and may have no option but to wind down the companies entirely, given the suddenness of the ban, especially.
Right, sir. It remains to be seen what the Supreme Court's decision on a bunch and a clutch of petitions is going to be. It's likely to be heard this week. But just one final question before we wrap up this discussion. Mr. Navani, let me come back to you. You did speak about, the other two gaming segments that the government is keen on promoting, which is essentially esports and online social games, and ensuring FDI flow into the sector. How are investors looking at that opportunity, and how big is that opportunity for India if we compare it to some of the advanced gaming markets across the globe?
No, I think that is a great question because, now that, there's already been an increased interest, as Jet Synthesis, we pioneered esports in India and, built nearly 90% of the current ecosystem, even in, social video gaming. We've created the world's largest platform on simulated video gaming in cricket and others and large leagues. And what I think what has happened over this period is that the indie studios or a lot of the studios that develop great games, were not able to attract enough capital globally because a large part of the global capital that came into India around these areas went into more of the real money gaming companies, and I think that kind of opportunity has definitely opened up. One, second is if you see the video games that Indians play, they are largely global games, right? So I think with some localization, with some such opportunities, there is a limitation on what those global games can do. So I think it's a perfect time for India to invest in IPs, to see how we can create world-class companies in this sector, because as I mentioned earlier, it's a $200 billion global industry. We have 17% of the world gamers from India, but as a percentage of the overall market, we are less than 1%. So I think the upside, the gap is huge. Of course, it will. India is 50 years too late into the video gaming sector because the console, the PC, the mobile. It's only with the mobile that we have started to emerge in this sector. So definitely there are other headwinds there, but this regulatory tailwind, so to say, in this sectors should help the industry move at a much faster pace.
Right, Mr. Navani, maybe in a nutshell, to be looking at this, there is opportunity in adversities, perhaps how we could summarize that. But thank you very much, as well as Mr. Parekh and Saita, for joining us here this evening on India Tonight. For the moment, we leave the conversation at that. And it's also time for a quick break here on India Tonight. Don't go anywhere. Both Sumita and I are going to be right back after this short break.